Welcome back to A Slice of News, where I cut you off a slice of news. Super Bowl 60 has come and gone, and Seattle fans are probably still celebrating since last night's win over the New England Patriots. But as is with all Super Bowls, it seems, the big talk is all about the halftime show, where one of the biggest artists in the world, Bad Bunny, performed what was by all accounts an incredible show, seen by an estimated 125 million people, despite having had what may have been the most watched NFL halftime show of all time. It would seem not everyone enjoyed it. Unsurprisingly, our complainer-in-chief could not wait to make his displeasure known, posting on social media, "The Super Bowl halftime show is absolutely terrible, one of the worst ever. It makes no sense. It is an affront to the greatness of America and it doesn't represent our standards of success, creativity, or excellence. Nobody understands a word this guy is saying, and the dancing, it's disgusting." Now, our president not enjoying the halftime show is not a surprise. He was very outspoken since Bad Bunny was announced to be performing the halftime show that he did not like him and did not approve of his selection as the halftime performer, a choice he called absolutely ridiculous and said, "I don't even know who this guy is. I don't know why they're doing this. It's like crazy." Though while they were doing it, it's not hard to figure out. The man is a 3-time Grammy Award winner and one of the biggest and most popular recording artists in the world. But I think it's safe to say the president is not a big fan of non-English music, so he's most likely unaware of that fact. And that's probably why he couldn't understand what he was saying during his halftime performance, since Bad Bunny was performing in Spanish, his native tongue, a fact he and his fellow conservatives most assuredly did not like. But what was interesting about his displeased Truth Social post was not that he was angry and unhappy about Bad Bunny's performance, but the fact that it revealed he had watched it at all. He was supposed to be watching Turning Point USA's All-American halftime show that they put on as a counter show to the un-American Bad Bunny halftime show, headlined by the one and only Kid Rock, an artist known for performing with a backdrop of the Confederate flag, who is currently most well known for a song he sung about how much he liked underage girls, and who at 55 probably should stop having the word kid in his name, though I suppose considering that that's who he and his fan base are apparently fans of, probably won't. But Turning Point practically put that show on for the president to watch. They were the anti-woke halftime show. They were probably very disappointed when the president made it he'd been watching the Brown Bunny instead of the White Rock. A disappointment that probably only doubled when they only got about 5 million people to watch their show, while Bad Bunny got at least 25 times that for his show. And ultimately that may be explanation alone, while despite his public decrying of Bad Bunny and the halftime show in general, President Trump was watching it because it was just the more popular thing to watch. And popularity is all he cares about. He knew he'd get much more traction out of being angry about the more popular thing than praising the massively underwatched Turning Point show, which I think, while not a revelation, really gives you an insight into the man and the movement that he built around himself. It's all about optics and performative outrage. Being publicly mad about something a lot more people are aware of and interested in gets him a lot more than publicly praising something that most people were not even watching to begin with, so he can't be bothered to pretend to care about it. And of course, in his rant about how bad the halftime show was, he could not help patting himself on the back for the best stock market and 401k in history, a statement that I don't need a fact checker to tell me is comically inaccurate. But with all the build-up for the halftime show and how Bad Bunny is un-American and how picking him is an affront to American values and how dare he not speak in America's chief language of English, and for all the claims that the Turning Point alternate halftime show was for the patriots and real Americans, Bad Bunny's halftime show was much more about what this country really is, the true American spirit. In a lot of ways, his performance transcended the language barrier entirely. It showed workers, it showed friendship, it had dancing, it had old people. It had an actual marriage ceremony. It had people just being happy and united. How someone could have seen that and said it did not represent our standard of success, creativity, and excellence is beyond me, because that's exactly what it was. Turning Point USA's show showed off what that section of the country believes America is. Bad Bunny's halftime show showed what America actually is. And I suppose that that same section of the country, that would be very off-putting. Our country is not made up of just white people who speak English. It's about many people of many colors who speak many languages, including English. And I think that's really at the heart of the whole Bad Bunny halftime show controversy. The America he represents and put on full display during that halftime show is not the America they want. That's why it was so easy for them to brand Bad Bunny as un-American, despite the fact he's from Puerto Rico, which is part of America, part of our shared nation, because he didn't look like them, because he didn't talk like them, because he didn't exemplify their white America. He was something to be shunned and derided, even calling into question the judgment of the National Football League as a whole for having dared to choose him to headline their 60th Super Bowl halftime show. It's kind of sad to think those who would have most benefited from taking in Bad Bunny's message of inclusivity and togetherness were the ones who were least likely to have been watching it in the first place, because they preferred to watch a bunch of bland white artists because they more closely resembled their version of America. Though again, not the president, but really, unless there was some sort of controversy he could latch onto to make Truth Social posts about, he wouldn't have been watching either of them anyway. Because Donald Trump doesn't strike me as the type to care even one iota about sports or live musical performances in general. But at the same time, I think just how many millions of people did watch Bad Bunny's performance of the halftime show really speaks to a change that we're seeing in this country. There were so many accounts of people saying, I don't understand Spanish, so I didn't know what he was singing about. I don't even like that genre of music, but I watched it anyway because I liked the idea of an artist like him getting up on that big of a stage and having the chance to perform in front of all those millions of people. And what could be more American than that? Embracing someone different from you and recognizing that they deserve a platform too. Not being so stuck in what the halftime show is supposed to be like and what the type of person who performs at it is supposed to be like and look like and sound like. The notion that there's room for all of us, and that diversity is part of what makes his country better, not worse. Just how incredibly massive Bad Bunny's audience was for his halftime show really speaks volume. Maybe some small way acts as a barometer for the sentiment of the country as a whole. Even those who did not know his music, or maybe didn't even like his music, still wanted him there, up on that stage, performing his music for the fans that he already had, and the fans he may be making, or seeing him and hearing him for the first time. And the importance of representation for Latin Americans, especially now, in a time where immigration and immigration enforcement are a daily news topic, and tensions feel like they're at their highest. Voices like Bad Bunny's are important to be broadcast to as many Americans as possible, even if it's speaking in a language not all of them understand natively. Because despite what his detractors seem to feel, he is America. He represents the diversity that makes America great, and always has. Homogeneity is in fact the enemy, and it is this attempt to narrowly define what is and isn't truly American, and a rejection of anything that does not fit into that small box. That is what is truly un-American. We are a nation where out of many we were founded as a bunch of small colonies that united together into a singular United States. And as the country expanded, that principle still remained true. We were a nation of many different peoples that came together to form a one united nation, one singular entity that is America. And trying to embody and live that belief could not be more American, which is why the right wing's constant questioning of Bad Bunny's Americanness was complete nonsense. In a lot of ways, he represents the real America far more than they even do. I will always maintain that diversity is one of our greatest strengths as a nation. And while he didn't come out and say that in words, I also feel that Bad Bunny was communicating that through his performance and showing that while he didn't embody the image of America that maybe certain sections of our country believed was the correct way. He was still America and American, and embracing diversity is being more true to the ideals and beliefs that founded this country. Honestly, I think part of the issue with Bad Bunny was that a lot of people who don't know much outside of their bubble, their small town, they honestly did not realize that Puerto Rico is part of the United States. And being from Puerto Rico does not make him a foreigner, a person from a different country. Puerto Rico is part of America, therefore he is an American just like them. But because he didn't look like them or sound like them, he must be from a foreign land, from another place, not the America that they know. I would say that this could serve as a learning experience for them, but I don't get the impression that they are, on the whole, interested in learning anything that challenges their preconceived worldviews and beliefs about who is and isn't a real American. So until then, all you can do is to show them what else is out there and hope that in time, perhaps they can find it within themselves to want to learn more and to grow as a person so we can collectively grow as a nation together, because in the end, that is what America is all about and can only make us all better. Alright guys, that'll be it for this episode of A Slice of News. I've been your host, Mr. Slice, and until next time, when I cut you off, another slice of news. And don't forget to rate and review the show on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and anywhere else you find it.